Hello!
Oh, snap. Look who it is. The Bearded Boys.
Yup.
Hey everyone, welcome
Oh,
to the, I guess, Kickstarter extravaganza?
Yeah, Kickstarter
Yeah?
launch party or
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
So, in case you were wondering, we're here today to celebrate the fact that Alder's Blood, one of our most promising upcoming titles here at No Gravity Games, is now live in Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
We've got $1 million of pledges already. It's awesome. Actually, no, it's actually doing exceedingly well for how long it's been up? Like an hour now?
Not
Something.
really, 30 minutes or something.
30 minutes, yeah, it's doing extremely well.
We haven't said anything yet, so.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go to this screen because that's much cooler.
Yeah, in space.
Yeah, we're in space now, but
It's a game, is it?
so let's introduce everyone. My name is Dave. I'm from No Gravity Games. I'm joined by Mikhail and Camel from Shockwork Games, the developers behind Alder's Blood, which is a fantasy Victorian Western dark strategy game, and today we're going to show you that. But we got something special to show you as well. We're actually going to go through the timeline, starting from the very beginning to where it's at right now, in terms of where it began and the evolution of the game and all that sort of stuff. So what you're going to see today is a lot of fairly old builds that no longer mean much to the game, but it'll give you a good idea of sort of why you should back the project and how far we've come up until this point. So why don't we give a little history of where you guys started first?
It started in somewhere around 2017. I'm not sure exactly when, because this was like a side project for some time when we are still developing stuff. And I have some images from that time. So if you could pop this up and you can show some. So this is the first image where it all started. This is the time when I discovered, maybe not discovered, but I was very hard about skeletal animation, and this is one of our hunters. I chopped this into pieces and done this animation. It didn't work. It didn't work. But
This one.
and
Should make it full screen.
Alder's Blood wasn't really at the very beginning what it
You
was.
just down the bottom there. Yeah.
No, not
And
really.
then down the bottom in the corner.
No, it's Windows 10.
Cool,
I'm
there
still
we
getting
go.
used
Yeah,
to that.
much better.
It wasn't supposed to be on Hexes at the very beginning. It wasn't supposed to be called Alder's Blood. Back then it was just Vampire Hunters or whatever. And it was,
whatever, I like it.
Yeah, because it was just, I knew back then that I want Vampire Hunters type of characters, and I want some dark themes, and red UI. that was what I knew. The story wasn't there, nothing was there. The idea was that this would be still a turn-based game, tactical game, but you have these levels and you go down into caverns, like dungeons and things like that. So it could be closer to Steam World Heist. If you
Okay,
like it.
yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah.
but nobody liked the idea.
I'm also noticing right now, and you're probably going to get angry at me, but I see a lot of diamonds, and diamonds happen to be in the game for quite some time.
Yeah, diamond buttons, because they are fancy.
Well, I mean, more like the UI above, like
Yeah,
the hunter
yeah.
and stuff. Like it took a while, but we eventually came to a UI decision that we needed an overhaul for that. And up until that point, you might even see some of the screenshots on the Kickstarter. Probably still have
Some of these diamonds.
some of the diamonds are still there.
So
So
the builds we're gonna show.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 builds from different time periods, and we're gonna show you all of that. This is something this is not a placeholder for the game. This wasn't supposed to look like that anytime soon, but some of our people had problem understanding how it will look.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know how to even call this. Whatever. We used this to explain some of the mechanics, and make a decision about the hex, placement, how to call this. Because you can have hexes into
Orientation.
orientation, this will be a better word. Because you can have two positions for these hexes when you have like a sharp top or flat top.
Yeah.
And this makes a lot of this decision will carry later when it comes to animations, because when you have a flat top, then you have to make animation with an attack straight to the top. And so we decided to make this sharp on the top, so we could have only animations. We can have animation only on one side, right?
Yeah.
Left and right, and that's it. So that's something maybe less interesting, but still something that we have to do. And after we made all of these decisions, we started developing hunters, and these are the very early concepts that you could saw at our first demo. And we are still using them as concept arts. So you'll probably see some of them as skins in the finished product, or just some like mixes between some of these concepts. Some of them are too old, like this one. I love this concept. Alex did it, but the clothes are just too old. They don't fit the time period anymore. Then we started developing some of the attack poses, because we still thought that we can go with like stop frame animations like in Darkest Dungeon. So there's like different sketches for different attacks, abilities.
Right.
And very important thing, back then we had classes, like Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah,
so
I think one of the first builds I played of Alder's Blood had classes as well, right?
The demo.
Yeah, right now they are just skins. You can equip your hunters however you want, and this is way better. Another concept, I'm working on a new version for that. This is an example of a class. Right now you can build something like that. You just give a guy a weapon that is from a class mole, and some other stuff, and he will work exactly as the Antiquarian. So we're not losing anything in gameplay. We just give more options. So then there was I think the most challenging part, for us to get like this whole visual
aesthetics.
Yeah, that's the great word that everyone is using recently. Because this is a lot of things, this is a perspective, this is a style, a lot of stuff, and we had made something like that. You can see that you can't see anything in that, but we needed something like that, right? We just need to have everything in one place, in one Photoshop file, so we can experiment, and this is like a very, very early thing for that. And then we started experimenting with different stuff. Like guys could have, like one guy could have only a rifle and this stick. This is called a fork.
Man catcher.
Well, maybe that was. I was very inspired by a concept of this Russian, I think, gunmen from 17th century. They were not using these, but they're using bardishes for that.
Oh, okay.
So if they needed it, they could, just slam someone with a bardish, right? So you can see back here that this guy is carrying his bardish,
rifle
and he rests.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So he could shoot or slam with this bardish.
Nice.
There was a unit like that in the Cossacks game.
Oh, yes, okay.
But they couldn't use the badish, so they were basically defenseless from
that.
Okay. But they got rifles, they need something there.
Yeah, this is something that maybe will be added to the game. We're experimenting with different ideas for enemies, and these are some mutated humans.
They kind of look like pigs a little bit. Like they got like pig feet and stuff.
Yeah. They were supposed to, and because they are living in villages, they are the closest to the farm animals, and they like merge with them. So you have like horse legs and shit like that. And here's like a finished concept art piece for that. And I still want to make this in the game, probably in an update or something like that. But it's still valid. It's not that this is something that we completely forgotten about. Same here.
My main question for that previous image is like, what happened to these other shoe? Like there's a story there.
Yeah, it was skin, so maybe they are not nutritious enough. Chewing, like your boot was something that you did when you were starving. You're just kind of like tricking your stomach.
Yeah.
So yeah, monsters with more of a sea theme as well. We have ideas for that, and probably go back to that, because some of these like gameplay ideas for these guys are still very cool.
Yeah.
like this one, the second from the right, from the left. This is supposed to work almost like a sound mine. So it sleeps, it's like a floater, but it's like a ghost or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you get too close or just alarm it with something, it starts screaming.
Right. Okay.
And then teleports in another place and screams, and you can start over again from there. Okay, but we had a game. Maybe we'll stop here with these images, actually. And we're gonna... escape will be quicker. We're gonna show you a build from this time period.
Mm-hmm.
That will be
okay.
best.
Oh, you got the build up and running now?
Yeah, just Alt tab it, everything.
Okay. Alright, yeah, cool. Oh man, this looks so different.
This looks so different. This is basically a completely different game.
Okay, so what time, around what year, what time of the year, where are we at right now in this?
This is, I believe, February 2018.
2018, so, yeah, so basically you guys had, before you found a publisher, us,
yes,
you guys worked on the game for how long before you did that?
Half a year.
Half a year. So you had a period of 6 months where you were working on the game just as independent developers, and you were basically striking the iron while it was hot and sort of putting all these ideas down into paper. And if I remember correctly, there's a demo that you guys made. How far behind the demo is this build?
I'm not entirely sure. This is probably one of the demos because we're updating them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have like 20 of these builds. We're checking different types of balance. How the characters should work. You can see a lot of familiar things. Some of the stuff may come back, may not. This was way closer to XCOM back then.
Yeah.
So you just you start.
You had like the world map and the time progression. And that sort of stuff.
It's one day, and the yellow in the middle is a month. Because we have this mechanic, it wasn't there, but it was supposed to be there when the moon will change, and it affects the environment. And bam, you had the mission, right? And you can embark.
The moon did change. It didn't affect anything, but it did change.
Yeah. Back then it was supposed to affect like the income, the resources, stuff like that.
Strike all the monsters.
It transformed into weather system that we
have
right now. So basically, it's the same. You can see that we didn't even have like images for these guys. It wasn't coded, but the equipment screen probably looks familiar to you, Dave. Because,
I remember
one of the demos was very, very familiar, but we didn't have like any images for that stuff.
So why don't we just explain a little bit about the decisions behind all of these stats and stuff like that you have here, because the original game, you had the class system, and the class system came with weapons attached to the classes, yes?
Yes, exactly.
And those classes also had armor, as far as I remember, and those was the resistances and stuff tied to the armor, or was that like a different thing?
It was supposed to be tied to the armors, and we still have this, but it changed into charms. Because we decided that these guys, this is like right now. Maybe not. In this demo, like the time period was something like 70th, 80th century. This is a time period that nobody is really using like metal armor anymore, chainmail or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that this is very uncommon. So this guy here that is in this full plate armor, that's why he's called antiquarian.
Yeah.
Because he dwells into this old stuff and he brings this all back. And he likes what everybody else is just wearing some like leather or just clothes on them. And
there's also you probably won't see it in these earlier builds, but at a certain point, the direction of the game sort of pivoted a little bit.
Yes.
So in this build, it's more focused on like going into a mission and wiping out the opponent. In a lot of cases,
we didn't have any other like objective, so we had to stick to that.
In the current build that we have, and the sort of the major change here, I'll just move out of the way so people can see like the UI there on the bottom, because you also can carry trinkets and stuff like that, much like you can in the current build.
A lot of the stuff is still the same because the stats are pretty much the same. We have more of these. Resistances are in the game. Of course, there are different types of these attacks.
Yeah.
We don't have electricity or fire. We have different stuff. We'll show you this later.
So going back to what I was saying though, like the pivot was quite substantial because it actually changed quite a lot about like the game itself as well. We, I guess, all unanimously decided that the game needs to swap into more of a focus on the disparity between monsters and humans, and how the focus from being combat to being stealth was quite a big one, and that changed quite a lot in terms of the aesthetics, changed quite a lot in terms of the armor that people would wear, and that's where the change comes into like the charms as well.
Yes, because that's kind of silly to wear a chainmail. If you ever had a contact with a chainmail, it makes a lot of sound.
Yeah, it's very heavy, and you can't move far, and so and a lot of those it smells. Yes, smells like metal. Whereas the hunters just smell like death normally. So that sort of aesthetic change sort of prompted a lot of change in terms of you won't see it in these builds, but you will see it in like some of the builds that we show later on.
I think the biggest change will be when we show you the most recent build, because a lot of the stealth mechanics are there and they're working. Yeah. And this is kind of strange situation because the first pitch that I created for Alder's Blood was all about this stealth, and we started creating all of these mechanics. We kind of forgot about this. I don't even know how to start to tell this, because it's strange. This was still there, but okay, we'll make this. But in the meantime, we had a brawler, basically, a tactical brawler, and I didn't like it at all. Yeah,
it's sort of the concepts were really well founded, but there was a mismatch between the game that you wanted to present and the aesthetic style that you were giving the game.
Yeah.
And it took a while to understand what the big problem there was that we needed to solve.
Yeah, basically at some point I just sat down and okay, this won't work.
Yeah.
This won't work. As you can see, you can't see much.
Jesus.
There's a lot of these details that are completely not needed. A lot of this.
As you can see, they're wearing helmets and hats. They can't see absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Like 2 feet in front of them, basically.
Yeah, it was. We had some of the basic mechanics for stealth, so you can run into bushes and cut.
Oh my god! I can't remember how janky it was.
No, maybe because we are streaming, but it was running quite fast. But
it was
I clicked something.
Just as yesterday, it was smooth movement. Yeah.
Yeah. So also this sort of follows the. I don't know how else to call it, but like the action point system.
Ah, right, yeah.
These where you have like certain amounts of things you can do in a turn, and that's like always the same. Like you can sprint more than once, or you can sprint and attack. And the system was very much focused around like a limited pool of things you could do.
Well, in this build, we actually have like 3 actions.
Yeah, 3 actions. Yeah.
The move was a separate action, so you can move and use your both actions for attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think you could move twice, right? But this doesn't. It won't take your actions, but you can move only twice.
No, you can move once, but the range is.
Okay, so we have this there because we have.
Oh yeah, it's shrinking.
Yeah, so it's like it's right now. We had a build that it worked like in XCOM, so you had like a movement is an action, but it wasn't working at all.
Yeah.
Like at all. It was just a mess. But we still have this. We
basically have this actually. We have free movement.
Yeah.
And actions from XCOM.
Well, I mean, you have a stamina pool that you can everything comes from, or an action point pool, or whatever.
But the basic movement is still free.
Yeah.
And then you can use the stamina for
additional movement. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the most recent. Yeah, that's it. And we have this stamina. So it was from the very beginning. We were experimenting heavily with the stamina, and right now I think we have something that we can say that works well.
Yeah.
Right now it's like a defense against knockdown, so when you're knocked down, you're losing a turn, and that's basically it. So you have 2 options when you're dealing with monsters. You either kill them on sight. Could you take us out? Because I have you either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So every guy had like few actions that he can use. It was tied to the class.
Right.
And that's it. We can change these weapons, and these weapons probably change slightly this stuff, but it was like this class does this. It was a nightmare to balance this out, and some of these classes just still doesn't work. Like this guy can shoot AoE, and this will be like it's only 3 damage. This guy has 4 HP points, so I haven't finished him off, and so
took his stamina, so he can move.
So it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, and the UI on where you move, whether you're in a monster's range and all that sort of stuff, that wasn't really figured out either. And there's a lot of confusion as to what all of it means.
We didn't have any tutorials. We had some tutorials on the strategy layer. We can go back.
Anyone with familiar knowledge to any sort of XCOM style games was like they intrinsically understood what you're trying to do, whether or not the UI presented those facts correctly or not. And I honestly feel that some of the direction for the UI in particular, there's a lot of information that needs to happen more so, I guess, when you change the strategy. Like you need a lot more information. You need to obtain visual data from just about every aspect. Like because we're missing when we play a game, we're missing like 4 of the 5 senses. We can't smell, we can't hear. There are a bunch of things like that, and that is sort of related to everything. So this is a kind of interesting aspect. You guys have in this demo you had moving. I don't know what you want to call them, bannermen or caravans of people and stuff that were moving around the map.
Yeah, this is an idea. This is a placeholder. It doesn't work per se. This is like
kind of did.
Kind of did. Kind of.
I mean, it's moving around.
the idea was
it had a purpose.
Yeah,
it moved a point and it started something that you can do something about, and that was.
Okay, so the idea was that we are sitting in the city. In the city, we have our. I don't know where it was actually. We have our tower or something like that, when we could. Okay, I remember now. Okay, I need to click the city. Okay. So there's the city. We have just a shitty placeholder, made from photos. But hunters actually have an abandoned tower there. Nobody knows that they are there, but they are sitting there. They're this people working from the shadows, influencing the people from the city, and this was supposed to be the movement of the city forces. The city is fighting the monsters on their own, and we are helping them, right? And so that was the idea. And so there was no caravan of ours as we have right now, and it was boring because you had to put this and then you wait.
You just essentially wait, yeah.
And something will happen eventually.
That's because you didn't start the research.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had the research. we spent a lot of time. We may bring this back actually. We may bring this back. This is not a bad idea to have something like that.
Yeah, I mean you could theoretically bring in something like dark ritual magic research or something like that.
Yeah, we could have a mad scientist that doesn't only works with science but also with all this occult stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of our hunters will be there.
Monster blood transfusions, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
so it's like an occult mixed with science. It would fit because all of this occult and supernatural, it's there. It's not made up in this world. It's all true. It's all there, and it will bite you. So that's a part of the world.
The text is missing.
Random accept buttons everywhere.
Yeah, because it's supposed to give you a pop-up that they started fighting there.
Yeah.
And so with some time, the mission will pop up there. We can help them. And this bar, he was supposed to show the strength of the city. It's all maybe sound fun, but as I said, it was pretty boring. But the foundations were there.
Yeah, the combat scenario aspects was sort of what we took away from the demo mostly when we saw it and played it and stuff. So I think that was the big thing for us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's alt tabbing. Yeah. You know what would actually be cool to show? Do you remember that original trailer you had? That was real gory.
Ooh, okay.
The live action thing.
Yeah, that. Oh, not the live action one, but the really gory, flicking image trailer that you had.
There was some live action.
There was some photos in there, like playing it over top.
Yeah.
No, not this one. Not this one.
We won't be able to grab audio, but we can show you this. And when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, damn, that's a good trailer." But there's no way it can be related to a full product release because there's a story behind this. There has to be. about how you guys came up with this, because it had some images in there that I want to know about. That was a very interesting discussion we had. It's like we got
The world is very scary. You cannot just travel as you would do in our world. The beast can always eat you. So we kind of wanted to show you that with this, but there was a lot of gore there. When Alex, that was doing all of these illustrations for this trailer, but I don't know if I'll be able to show you because my PC starts lagging like hell.
Yeah, because you got like 7 builds open at the same time or something.
Yeah.
Maybe close the one we just showed.
Yeah, we won't be using this anymore. Well,
suddenly, so much faster.
Right? Okay.
How far back are we going now? That's crazy. It was a trailer. Is it this one? No, that's the Kickstarter. Keep going. I remember it was like super gory. You might need to go to your profile.
Is that trailer?
No, it definitely. I think it might be one of these ones. Well, I might actually got you to remove it. Thinking about it.
I think that is the case. Actually.
Can you go to the deleted stuff? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not. Sorry for the tease.
Yeah, it was. That video was something.
So basically, Alex started searching for dead bodies, carcasses of animals and people. It really made me sick sometimes when I was looking at her monitor, and it was just flashes, so you couldn't really see this,
Oh no, you totally could. You
Yeah.
totally could. So this trailer, right? Let me set the scene here. I'll try and describe this trailer because it was interesting. Basically, had this really good piece of key art, and I really like that key art, and I wish you kept that key art, but. They had this piece of key art which the camera sort of slowly revealed as it went along. It was, I want to say it was like 2.5 minutes long, maybe less than that. But every so often it would flick a picture of like this
gory stuff,
like a gore, like just like straight up like, yep, that is a dead body of something. I remember seeing this and I was like, hot damn, we can't use that. But
so we had a very vertical image, and it was like a stream of blood.
Yeah.
And at the very top, we had the hunter was like holding a beast, like in this very like intimate investigation. It was feeding it blood, from his veins. Because back then we were thinking that the only way to really kill a beast, the true way was to give a little bit of hunter's blood to it, so it could die.
wow.
True death, but how to make this a gameplay mechanic in a tactical game? Yeah, maybe you will tell me.
If any of the Shockworks Games dev team finds that trailer somewhere,
Yeah, you can link it.
link it in like Discord, I guess, or something, and we'll play it because it's it was nuts. It was nuts. So what are we seeing next? You got more screenshots or something?
Yeah, you can go back here.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we have something like that, and this is the time when I said, okay, full screen, sorry. Okay, this art style doesn't work.
It's kind of cool though. I do like it.
No, the other one, and I started looking for different stuff.
Yeah.
And this is also the time when
So why was the art style not working? Was it just too much to do? Like
it was too busy.
Too busy?
It was too busy, and there's a very important thing that I've learned when I was studying graphics, that the format kinda dictates the amount of detail.
Yeah.
And this is something that we learned the hard way with Alder's Blood, with the first builds. When you zoom out, there's so much of these small details that it starts almost pixelating, and
like
you
mushing together. Sort of
you don't see where it is. And there's this UI, and we've added this bloom for whatever reason, so everything kinda like
needs more lens flare.
yeah. Don't do this. Yes, don't do this. If you are the game developer, this is not worth it. And I started doing some tests with stop motion animations, and I discovered that this is the way to go with it. Because if you are making a skeletal animation, you can only do this much. If you have a guy that's standing like that, he can only do this much.
Yeah.
And we cannot make anything like that. There are some like tricks to do it, but you need an expensive software for that, and the amount of work doesn't really justify, all of that time spent.
Because the main thing between 3D games and 2D games is that in a 3D game you can just adjust the model to match whatever you need. If you need a new animation, you can go in there and just put it up. But let's say you bring a new gun into a 2D game. That means every existing model that would need to hold the gun has to be redrawn holding that gun, right?
With the skeletal animation, there are some tricks, but it's still very stiff. And when it's like something like a JRPG, when they're just standing and idling, okay, it's not that bad, and you can just make some one-shot frames. That's what Darkest Dungeon did. This was a very smart decision by them, because they could limit the amount of work and do this. But our game was something different, and we cannot do simple tricks like that. We had to change the art style. And so here is a comparison of the old art style that would be, changed into meshes. All of these parts will be cut into pieces. So we have like this arm probably cut into 2 pieces, hand with the sword. There's a lot of these pieces, and all of that needs to be.
Movie gore.
All of this would have to be adjusted to the skeleton. This is a lot of very boring work. But as you can see, we are still using this. It's slightly simplified, to match the new style, but also the characters are smaller, so this is not that big of a deal for us. And you can see them clearly, which is the most important thing in tactical game. You need to know where your units are and where the enemy is.
And casting a bigger. Oh, okay. Apparently we have the gory trailer on Discord now, so I'll put this up so none of the stuff can be shown. But so
which Discord?
Which Discord, Magna? Is it our Discord?
Alder's Blood Marketing.
Alder's Blood Marketing. So that'd be on ours.
Okay, maybe marketing.
Okay, so we'll just make that full screen if we can, because this was something else altogether.
Dead body.
Like
whatever.
It's very, very, very just like, yeah, okay. Oh man, I remember that. But the thing that impressed me the most about this trailer, and we won't, because it's just mostly just like screams and horror stuff. You're not missing out on much there. But this last part here, this key art part, that part right there, that looks fucking awesome. And that's what really, I was like, yeah, I want that on a metal cover, like that was, for me, that was just, but we had to not use it because of the amount of gore that it had.
The key art is kind of messy. Also, we switched the art style as well, but yeah, it was like the starting point, for the art and everything. It was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to show you, we have some of the skins, and if you are a long-term fan, you may recognize some of them. Like this guy used to have its own concept for the old graphics. This is like a mixture of 2 other guys.
Yeah, we saw actually that guy in the demo. Yeah,
but I just changed, the lower body to have something more of a militaristic look. This guy that was with all clad in armor, we maybe do this, but he looks kind of plain next to other guys. And this guy that's like in classic 17th century type of travel cloak, leather cloak. If you ever watched Brotherhood of the Wolves, then you know what I'm talking about. I love this movie. It was one of the main references for us, like main inspirations for this. And here I just wanted to show you some of the earliest illustrations by Alex. A lot of you really like the art in the game, and it all started sometime.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really good picture.
Yeah, we had an idea that we could hire some human, like henchmen or whatever, that could do some less dangerous work for us.
Oh, like scavenging and stuff like that.
Scouting.
Scouting stuff like that. Yeah. So this was supposed to be for their screen, and we have, I guess it was for the research. Yeah, it was just like a background screen for the research. Okay, so that's all of the images that I have for you. Then we can go back to the builds. Another build will be from, it's milestone 5 or 3? It's milestone 3. So
Wow.
3 months after we signed.
Yeah, so just to put in perspective, there was one demo that we played ahead of time, and it looked very much like the first build that we had just now. But over the course of the 9 or 10 months that... Actually, it was a lot longer because a milestone is basically a month, but it's also not a month sometimes, you know? So, yeah, we have been working together for, I want to say, this is going on the 10th milestone now after we finish this one that we're on right now. So we've had a lot of iterations going into this.
Yeah, we were looking at these builds because we have basically 9 builds, you know, to choose from the time that we're working together. And you can see that there was a lot of going back and forth, like, I don't know if this is milestone 3. So milestone 5 was actually worse than milestone 3 in some of the cases when I was going back.
And just altering things and swapping things.
Yeah, we're trying different balances because, you know, we can make a game, you can have a movement system and all of that, but then you need to balance it, you know, for how many hexes your hunter will run. And this changes everything.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the movement and like the stamina and all that sort of stuff, that was very much a constant changing factor of the game. And we had every week we would have a discussion, and I think we talked about that probably the most out of everything.
Yeah, because the core mechanics of the game, you know, this is not like an XCOM and you have a lot of these rifles. This is also a melee game. A lot of these weapons are melee, and the enemies, they won't shoot at you. This is kind of asymmetrical gameplay, right? Some of them right now can do some, but this is not that they are enemies with rifles, right? So this is a different type of balance for them. So you can see this is milestone 3. Some of this stuff is very similar, right? We have these backgrounds that have this parallax effect. Back then there were only 2 layers of this parallax. Right now we have 3 and some additional stuff. We have this strange UI that
I mean it's kind of Victorian fantasy, you know, like the always spinning circles and symbols and things like that. So
yeah, it was back then very inspired by Destiny. You know,
yes,
had a lot of
I can see that. Yeah,
but there is too many thin lines. You know, UI was something that I spent a lot of time. There is like throughout the course of the whole project, so you know, even for the demo, we had like 15 iterations of the UI, sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller. But you know, that's how it works. You know.
Yeah. So this is very much like the demo, the original.
Yeah. We only changed basically this part when you have your hunter. I don't know if you can change. Oh, you can change the colors already. So it was kind of early.
Good old Hunter 3.
Hunter 3. Yeah. My favorite. So you can see that some of the stuff still stayed. We still thought that we'll make these armors. That basically the charms are still armors. This is like only a change of the word and the art for that. This didn't work. You know, this is just a placeholder. And we had some items that don't load properly, but we have some throwing knives here. Finally, some traps. No, it won't crash. If it crashes, whatever. We have other pieces that work better.
Yeah. So I don't think I ever saw any armor in the game.
No.
Like I think there was always like a spot for it, but I don't recall ever seeing like, when you put this armor on, these things change. So.
No, we changed this. We just changed this to charms, and they play exactly the same role. Gameplay-wise, this is the same thing. Just don't call it armors, because as we discussed this before, it's kind of strange for these guys to run around in the forest in full plate armor or chainmail or anything like that. And how many iterations of leather armor can you make?
Studded, normal.
Yeah.
Boiled armor.
Have you ever touched the boiled leather, by the way?
No.
This is like a piece of, I don't know, almost like a metal. This is very hard. This is not something comfortable.
What else would there be? There'd be padded.
But that would be a cloth. But
okay, I guess technically. But
so we have magic items. You know, we have magic items that change the character.
It definitely fits better as well, and you know, you don't have to redraw the same hunter asset with different armor on.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
know that we won't be able to do that. We knew that the only thing that we can do were the skins. That you can change. So if we can't do this, then why tease people that hey, maybe we could do this?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but whenever I played a RPG or anything like that, and my armor never changed when I put on a different piece of armor, I was like,
that's kind of disappointing.
That's kind of disappointing,
Yeah. And the system was still drag and drop. It required a lot of work for you, Camille, right?
Yeah.
And we scrapped this.
I do recall there was one build where you grabbed something and it was enormous.
Yeah.
I do remember that like from this style. Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing very fun about here. We have some of these weapons that. Okay, no, this is also a time when we change one of the very important stuff because we get rid of the classes, but we've added weapon classes.
Yeah.
So right now, as you can see, if I drag this. This guy is equipped with an axe, and there are 2 different axes, and they will be, different colors only. But this is like the role of your hunter right now. If he equips a harpoon here, then he's your ranged silent. If he has a blade, he can spam some attacks, weak attacks. The guy with the axe is a damage dealer. But you can add some usables there, so you can customize your own hunter this way.
And it was always like one of the key things I remember about this game from the very onset, from the very beginning. It was there is no RNG in the damages of the weapons or the items that you get. So if you have a sword, it's always going to do this much damage. You have a gun, it's always going to do this much damage, which meant in a lot of cases. Then you needed to make it so that weapons, because you always, for the most part, hit as well, if I remember correctly. There was always
there's no 2-hit chance.
Yeah, and so in order to balance the weapons and stuff, there needed to be another system, and that system ended up being like stamina, right?
Yes.
So on top of action points, you also had stamina, which tended to make the game feel like you were managing too much stuff, right?
Didn't use stamina for attacks back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really? I always remember it being in the
We'll
game.
see.
We'll see.
Okay.
Oh,
we have this.
These old transitions.
No, you need to hide us because we.
Yeah, this is kind of fun.
Hang on. Okay, I'm hiding.
Okay, so we still have this old map, but let's take a look at this.
I forgot about that.
To be fair, this was supposed to be like a full-fledged, the animation, right? When they are galloping. But this is just a placeholder. They wanted to test, if this would work. It didn't work. So
there was a special version I created. If some of the devs could link us, it was on our social media at some point.
What was it? A GIF?
Yeah, it was a GIF or a video where Camille was working on this, code-wise, and instead of this graphic here, he had this like anime stripes, so like.
The speed wipes.
Yeah.
just to reiterate how fast we're going,
what's the most funny thing? I was playing Valkyria Chronicles, so they were using exactly the same image, for some of their stuff.
Oh god!
And I was like, oh my god, someone actually did this. So a lot of the stuff that you see here, they didn't change that much. Most of the stuff is like visuals. So we still have these events. So something is happening. We have like an explanation of what's happening, but we have this very simplistic UI in this version, and we can talk with characters. Pretty much the same. The layout is different.
Yeah.
So she gave us a quest, and there's another conversation.
The old placeholder.
And we can accept the contract, and we've added this little red thingies so we could actually, track where the
stuff
are.
is going. Yeah.
Which mission will be better? I know this one is kind of boring, so maybe.
I remember the crossroads being fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the crossroads. This will be fun because you go through the crossroads. Okay. So the crossroads doesn't have even its own graphics there, and we have a mission. So you can see it's just go.
Mission
If
1.
you didn't go to the equipment screen and equip your hunters the way you wanted.
Tough titties.
Yep.
No pre-mission briefing. Oh my god, I remember this. I remember like the UI for the what is it? The hourglass in the bottom corner mostly.
Yep.
Oh man.
It has some animations when you highlight it. Some basic attacks, but you can see that it's still kind of there. Some of this stuff. We had some older iterations, but we'll spare you that. Okay, so we can see that the UI is kind of very.
It's very hard to see where you're doing.
Where we can go.
Yeah.
But the graphics is all new. But this is also the time when I was very struggling with the ground textures.
Yeah.
So you can see that the colors are kind of flat. There are no details, and we don't have even. We don't have camera bounce.
Yeah.
So we can go somewhere accidentally. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this stupid movement system, and you can't even run to the nearest hiding spot. And they are getting there, they are starting to move.
So when was the because I remember there was a very early build when I was like, guys, it takes so fucking long to walk. You need to build something in there that can you just make it so it doesn't swivel?
What?
Make it so it doesn't swivel and then it doesn't hit the fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So I'm doing.
Just so you know, we're in the middle of a fucking enormous hotbox right now. And the only reason we turned off the fan was because it kept hitting the... Does that sound okay? Okay, what if I just... Better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alright. Sorry if you hear the fan. It is so hot in here. Anyway, so there was an early build where I was like, guys, it takes way too long to walk. Can we add in the tab to the next hunter?
Yeah, it was I completely agree with you. It's not that I didn't want to do this. We just it was kind of tricky to do this, especially when we were tweaking this movement system so many times.
Yeah.
And back then we had these icons on the ground, and it shows you that someone is looking here.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like XCOM 2 had something like that in there. Where you could see when you were going to be out of ambush mode, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Concealment, right?
Out of concealment, that's what it was, yes.
So yeah, you can see that we still have action points. So these hunters have 2 action points. This is the health bar and their stamina. And let's see. Yeah, they don't use stamina for their attacks. I think this is... Yeah, we just grabbed this. We're going back and forth with that quite a few times.
So diamonds and shields.
Diamonds and shields. We have squares now. We have standard squares now.
Standard squares.
Okay, but the basics were there. I think in this build I think we have smell, but it's barely visible.
Barely visible, yes.
Yeah, we changed this to something better.
Let's explain spell a little bit then, because basically there was a mechanism in the game, and you had it from a very early stage.
Because actually we should talk about this in the when we were showing the older build, because it changed dramatically. It changed completely.
So the idea was that there's a wind direction, and hunters emit a smell, and if I remember correctly, some items or something like that affected how much smell you had. Like you could pick up.
In the very first version, it was like bound to the class.
Okay, yeah, you'd be the smelly dude.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
you have a lot of these firearms, a lot of these grenades.
That's what it is. Yes. You can bring like black powder or whatever, and you're smellier. Yeah, I remember now. And the wind direction which changes every turn, if I remember correctly, or at least it does now.
Only slightly.
Would allow the monsters to hide. You see, there's 3 gentlemen over there who are hiding in the bushes, and the monsters can't see you when you're in the bushes, but they can smell you. So if the wind just turns and gives you away, that was sort of the mechanic, and it was never really made apparent as to why that was the case until you added a giant line.
And giant line is actually something that you can see, right? Because back then it was the creation of cameos. Maybe you can talk about this.
This was actually the early build. We had the smell.
Yeah.
More like a heat map.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So a hunter was generating heat on his hex, and after each turn, the amount of the smell, I guess, was diminishing on the hex, and it was spreading around.
So they would be able to like follow your trail and stuff.
That was the point. Yeah.
That was the point.
It was. It is still fun, and I still plan to use it for gas-based weapons. So you can throw a gas grenade, and then this cloud of this gas can travel with the wind, because we haven't deleted the code for this.
I mean, maybe even like wounded people as well might give off a trail of smell. Yeah.
There was a problem with it. Basically, the smell actually travels really, really slowly.
Yeah.
But in real life, it travels really, really quickly.
No, actually, very
Really?
slow. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Only the wind actually moves the smell quicker. So in a stale environment, it actually doesn't travel very far, and it basically just deposits on surfaces. I believe that's how animals smell it. They smell the ground, the particles are
on
on.
the ground.
Yeah, I did some research when I was working.
Yeah, Camille
on it.
made a huge research for that.
That's weird because, like, in my eyes, this is like smell is like always flying around or whatever.
Yeah, in the end, that's how it was.
Yeah, in a building you have a lot of air moving around, so everybody moves around.
Okay.
The air moves around, so yeah, basically the smells move around. But in the forest, there isn't really actually that much air moving. The trees, the plants, they move it. And we were experimenting with the wind. So there was like a scale, the Beaufort scale for the wind.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
remember.
Okay.
There was a lot of stats that you could actually change and balance. But in the end, it was like everybody smelled you or nobody smelled you.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was fun because that was supposed to be like this mechanic that would change a little bit this very strict gameplay. If I deal 5 damage, I deal 5 damage, and I always hit, right? So we have all of these like different modifiers. We have the smell and the wind direction changes. So there is a little bit of RNG, a little bit of what will happen next, right?
The main reason we went with this, we didn't want the player to stay in one place for very long.
Yes.
We wanted the smell to accumulate and spread around, so that after many turns, the whole map would be just filled with hunter smell, and the enemies would know where the hunters are. So,
well, it shouldn't work like that. My idea was that it's supposed to be just travel and get enemies to you.
Yeah.
This flag was actually the initial idea. You just had a better idea. You did it your way. But there was another thing. There was a thing of optimization. You had to show this. Oh, nice. We weren't able to show this smell. There was supposed to be some particles, and they were just killing your CPU. That's
again, we come back to the biggest problem we faced as a team here to basically inform the player on things, like how much information should the player have, and how much, like, should he know which direction the animals are facing? Are they facing in all directions? Like, should he know the direction that he's making smells? Like, because realistically, as a stealth game, you would have a lot more going for you in real life when you are stealthing, right? So but there's a lot that you don't get here. So.
Yeah, that's why we did this, because that was kind of a challenge. You have real-time stealth games, but you don't have many turn-based stealth games.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can show you some of the stuff that are already there. Like we have
generic button.
Yeah,
okay.
generic button. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about it. It's not very interesting. But you can see the sound was already there.
Yeah, we had like sound. The sound ripples always made sense to me in terms of like a UI thing.
But it's still, you can see that he shot, and that's it, right? He used both of his actions, and he cannot move. This is something that I really didn't like, because for stealth to work, you need to be flexible. You can move, you can do something. I don't know, like make the shot, make a lot of sound, but then move so he can be lured to your last place. This is also the build that animates every character on the map, so it takes a lot of time, for the enemy's turn to finish.
Oh yeah, is that what it was? Because I was thinking that it's computing so much.
No. It was actually all of these characters are moving, and as the path showing, they are moving in slower pace. And so right now we have this if you don't see something, it just automatically teleports to its point.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's not animating, so it takes
very little time.
Yeah, very little time. So yeah, I don't know if I should show anything more here. It's just shitty graphics with direction, and you could see that we can do something more with that.
Mm-hmm.
We have better ideas for the stealth mechanics, but we're still experimenting with.
I think maybe you should show specifically the house and the objects on the map and stuff.
Right, this is something
because I remember that changing quite dramatically as well in later builds.
If you remember,
if we can see
if we can go there, right? Okay, let me just kill this guy, so I don't have to worry about hitting him. In the older builds, we only had terrain pieces that had. I'll show this in a second.
Mm-hmm.
That were only on one hex. That were only taking the area of one hex.
Yeah.
In this build, we have some bigger terrain elements, like this house that is in the dark, or this gate that will show you. And this also changed how the game looks. It wasn't so stiff.
Yeah.
It's just more. There's more stuff. And this is. Oh fuck. Yeah, so the controls are kind of wonky. From the very beginning, we knew that this stamina will be used to knock down enemies. And in the older builds, that was just it. You can knock down an enemy and he will lose a turn. But later on, we had this idea, I believe in a car, when we were going back from Krakow, from Digital Dragons. Okay, let's knock them down and allow hunters to finish them off. And this is what.
Coup de grace, it's called. Yeah.
But and it was still only slash with a dagger.
Yeah.
So you can see we have bigger terrain elements that can take more room on the map, and this is just something that creates a nicer composition, right? If you could look at this as a picture, right? And it's just better looking.
Yeah, and then you have this plank of wood here that's the size of 2 human beings and things like that.
We have big trees in this world. No, seriously, you have primordial forests. This is not 19th century Europe when most of the forests are already cut down.
Yeah.
You don't go to the forest in this world because you die. You basically die. You can bring some army with you. Then you will prevail. But the more you stay there, the more noise you make.
Mm-hmm.
The beasts will hunt you down. Basically, this is the theme of action and reaction. Humans push too hard, the nature kicks them in the
back.
butt.
Yeah.
And this guy has a harpoon, so I can shoot a monster, and he won't hear this. He will try to investigate the place where.
What just shot me?
Yeah. Oh, these guys. Okay.
Nom.
Nom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was also a period of time where enemies were doing so much damage to players, just a huge amount of damage.
Yeah.
And health packs were all right, I'm gonna use a health pack on you. All right, here's 2 HP.
Yeah.
So you would take 90 damage, and then you just a little pixel of health comes back.
Yeah, we wanted to make players use stealth more. So if you are not tasked with killing monsters, and to be honest, you are very rarely are. You really are. You don't do this very often. You usually need to go somewhere, activate something, pick up something, and get out, things like that. Then you do just that. And these builds still lacked a little bit in this manner, but we're getting there. And we just wanted strong enemies. Okay, we are hunters. We are better than humans. Right? We're not humans. We still know how to survive, but we are not big, beefy werewolves.
No, yeah. The idea that monsters were supposed to come in and just just bitch slap you, Oh yeah, the dead horses.
Yeah, we don't use this anymore because
Yeah.
not very useful. You know,
yeah, it's not
it's
good.
actually a cover. You know, you can hide behind this.
Yeah. Someone played Call of Duty.
And this this is also a build when you used all of your movement, it ended your turn. And this is also something that I didn't like. We thought that this would be easier to understand for new players because this is like an XCOM, right? Okay, you used all of your movement points, bam, that's it.
Like an auto turn end, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. It
No.
wasn't good. It didn't fit this gameplay, these themes. So yeah, have some more floaters, but I think we've seen enough.
Yeah.
It's slow. It's very slow. So the last thing that I have for you here is the most recent build.
Yeah, and this is the doozy. This is where everything comes together. In between that build you saw, we had like a sort of like a revelation of how effectively we should present the stealth, right? Like that was the biggest sort of drawback I could say. I mean, obviously in between then and there was like story being built, there was art being done, there was UI being messed with and all that sort of stuff. But I think the biggest takeaway and the biggest sort of change that everything happened was because of the fact that we fully committed to making this a stealth experience rather than a combat experience. And because of that, a lot of things changed. Specifically, I would say the biggest change for me personally was when you decided on nailing the aesthetic and how the hunters interact with the enemies. Being that you can navigate around them and go to your objective and do them successfully, and even the biggest brutest like werewolves and stuff like that. In this world, I know in most modern fiction or whatever, or old fiction, werewolves are like, prime predators and that sort of stuff. But hunters have ways of navigating around them, and basically luring monsters into traps, separating them from other enemies so that they can gang up on them and take them down if they need to. There's a lot of those sorts of elements in here.
From the very beginning, the idea was that these are completely two different groups. You have your hunters; they have access to technology, to magic, to all these tricks. They are intelligent, right? They represent this intelligence. And then you have these monsters, and this is basically a brute force, right? That's why they deal so much damage. But these are only beasts. Even if they were humans once, they are no longer, right? They are just lose themselves to these instincts. This is I think the conflict between intelligence and instincts. And this is something that I think we are finally nailing down. Right? I think we are getting there finally.
We also had quite a number of people come in and play the game and give us like feedback on like specifically information that the player needs to get.
This is the hardest part actually, for all of you game devs out there. Prepare yourselves, because how this game works, but people who will have like first contact, they don't have a clue, right? You need to show them this properly, and I'm still working on that actually. And there's a lot of iterations. You won't see the latest iteration in this build because I had to prepare this ahead of time, and there's not everything there, but we have me, so I can tell.
And we had consultants come in. We had professionals from other publishing houses come in. We've had audience come in. We've had a lot of people sort of give us feedback on this, and
that was very helpful.
It was very, very helpful. So a lot of what's changed, what you're going to see now, is not the final iteration on it, but the build that will be available post Kickstarter for those who back will look similar to this. There'll be some more changes in there, but for the most part, everything is pretty much nailed down in terms of how the feedback that people get. And there's a lot of things in there that still can change, but the movement system's pretty awesome now.
It's nailed down.
The systems that the user manage, it's pretty nailed down now. So I guess what, let's just jump into it. I guess
sure.
So also the art is just like you found that right perfect spot of like vibrance and like readability and also like aesthetically pleasing and like not too far. Like it's not Diablo 3 with rainbows. You know, it's you know what I mean. Like there's no like weird aesthetic change and stuff. Like you got like purples which still give out the feeling of death and decay and all that sort of stuff. And there's not dark blacks and stuff like that. It's just a nice sort of palette coverage here.
Yeah, so huge shout out to Alex, our illustrator, who did all of this art. And yeah, she somehow managed to use a lot of colors. So you can see you have greens, you have browns, you have
oranges,
yellows, very strong yellow here, right? But it still is dark and gloomy somehow, right?
Exactly.
And this is great, you know, and we're forever grateful for this art, for this game. It's just fantastic. So you can see like this stuff, it's pretty much the same. You still have diamonds.
It's a lot nicer though.
But yeah, I think it's the layout is way better, and we have tooltips, something that every PC game needs, in my opinion, because this is a very quick and simple way to tell what's going on. Okay, this is a simple feedback. Okay, this is a codex, right? And I go there and I have some information about this. And so you can always go back here and change, all of the mechanics. We're not gonna go there. This is like an encyclopedia. It's not something fun.
Yeah.
You can go here. We brought back the faction system in this build, so it will be fun.
And that's mostly done through side missions now, rather than like weird city interaction stuff, like the original intention of the factions were.
No, you just have your guys. There are 4 great houses that are ruling this city, in this world. The city is here. You can see you have a map.
New map, yep.
It's still not finished. We have some ideas how to make this even better. But
pop a little more,
So you can click. You can like have a zoom in, some information about the region, things like that.
Yeah, maybe like because every region has specifically different types of items you can scavenge and stuff like that.
It would be nice to actually see this before you go there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And city is here, and there's 4 houses, and these guys are spread around this world. You can talk with them and do some missions for them. They will be part of the main story arc, but there will be some side missions. So in the meantime, you can help them with their problems. You build up loyalty, and they will reward you with more stuff, basically. So you are doing these missions to get more tactical options for the main story. That's how it works. New equipment screen will be. So every time you open something new, you haven't been there, you get a pop-up, right? We'll probably chop this into a few pages so it won't be like this huge chunk of text.
Yeah,
we do this definitely. Okay, I said this right. We'll do this for sure.
Definitely.
And there will be here an image, that will kind of correspond with what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Everything is pretty much there. We just need to fill it with content. So this is the new equipment screen, where it's pretty much the same, but same but different, right? But still same.
Well, I think one of the biggest differences is like how the weapons affect the hunters and stuff like that now compared to
but I'm just talking about the US.
Oh, okay.
So we can change the skins. Right now we have this implemented. You can change avatars for your hunters. I already did some of them. We have way more coming. You can change some colors as well, right? And the colors are different for different skins. So every skin has its own set of colors that you can use. So there will be, of course, more of these. We always wanted to have an equipment screen when you have the statistics of your hunters next to them, so you can see how the equipment affects these guys. So, for example, if I give this guy this heavy axe, it will probably not equip. Okay, here it is. No, I just click on a different guy.
This is the update.
So this is a heavy weapon, and it influences some movement and I guess stamina and things like that. It should work here. I don't know why it doesn't show here. We will do red text. We have this. I don't know why it doesn't work.
Is this last month's build? Or?
This is a build from yesterday. No. There's some stuff that is not updating. I don't know. We probably broke something when we were trying this. But this is not the build that would give to a publisher to test. So sorry, some stuff may not work. Another thing that we added here is what Dave was talking about, that these weapons affect hunters. So weapons can have traits.
Traits, yes.
Yeah, so we have traits that hunters can have, and weapons that will give these traits to them as long as they're equipped.
Yeah, so you get the traits from leveling up, which you get like 5 randomly every time you level up.
And you choose one of these.
And they have like trees, so if you pick like one, the basic one, then you can get a more advanced version of that trait as you level up. The other thing that gives you traits is, let's say you put on a heavy weapon, it'll give you like less overall stamina to use because the weapon is heavier, right?
Yes.
So it basically everything affects a single pool now, which is really, really useful because it means that you can balance things a lot better rather than it being like, okay, you have your action points and you have your stamina and blah, 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 blah. Now you have
stamina and that's it.
Stamina and that's it. And it's really, really useful because there are things like later on you can get like talents that will give you extra stamina pool. So you can do a whole lot more in an action, but at the same time, then you equip a heavy weapon to that guy, and it reduces him back to the standard stamina allocation that most hunters have. But you're still better off than hunters who would use that otherwise. So the system for customizing hunters is actually based on that one stamina pool now is actually more effective in my opinion.
It's more clear. You can see the differences. Okay, I have more stamina, I can do more. And I can give the heavier stuff to people who have more stamina because these guys will come with some of these traits already on them, right?
Yep.
When they are generated, they basically draw from the pool, and so when you get new recruits, you can
traits.
Yeah, they can have random traits, and you may re-equip them to start your build basically. And that's how it works. Another big change was that hunters can now carry 2 weapons. I had a great problem with balancing range with melee. You know, usually it was like one was OP or the other was OP or this one useful. So I said, okay, they need a sidearm basically. So right now we have heavy weapons like this axe or this rifles, and then we have smaller weapons like this knives. And small weapons can be equipped in both slots. Heavy only in heavy.
How many total weapons do we have?
Right now we have like 50 something.
50, yes? Or 15?
No, 50.
50, that's what I heard.
Or 57, something like that. But I'm not done. There's more stuff to that.
1 billion weapons.
They are just different, you know. And you have these weapon classes. We have, I believe 7 weapon classes. And so, you know, for this to be fun, you need some iterations within this class. So this is like the basic rifle you get. This is like a gun that these guys make on the road. Something very simple, but slightly silenced. You know, hunters need their own weapons. So this is not as loud as a military weapon, for example, right? And some blades, like some that could poison a character or something like that.
So you got the charms as well.
Yeah, and charms are, you know, right now they don't have any charm because this is the start of the game. They need to, you know, get them. But these things would change the statistics and the resistances. We've introduced sometime along the way different damage types as well, right? And these weapons will may use one of this damage type or multiple. So there are weapons that have multiple damage, and enemies can be either weak to damage or resistant to the damage. Same with hunters and these charms.
Use the mouse to point this thing.
Oh yeah, you can see the screen. Sorry.
Yeah. You're pointing.
So the charms were thought that they should change the resistances, the stuff here. But we had a system that could do more. So sometimes you trade your resistances from some of your like movement range or stamina and things like that.
And the other thing that's worth pointing out too, swapping from a text-based system to icons, and like having icons for everything. You know, that was a big step as well. Like for example, all these icons on the side here for resistances. If you mouse over them, you get the information, and then if you go to the gun. And pull up the type of damage it does, it actually tells you which type of damage types it does based on the icons and stuff like that.
So it's way clearer.
So when you learn the icons, and because the same thing will apply to enemies. When you investigate the enemies and you understand what the enemy's weaknesses are, right? They will say it's weak to this icon, right? Instead of saying what it is, and then you can quickly find out what hunters have equipped, and you can actually use that to overcome problems, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can equip your hunters in such a way that it alleviates stresses and problems that you might have dealing with monster types.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We also added some resources, so the crafting system will be more fun. And these guys don't have a base right now. Like they move with their base, and this is I think also one of the biggest changes.
Mm-hmm.
And a beautiful art from Alex again.
Yeah.
And this is where you manage some of the other stuff. This is your moving base, and your hunters can engage in different roles in this camp. So they can either guard the camp, they can go to the region and scavenge for resources,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this region is kind of poor because humans live there, so there's not much to scavenge here. So they can only steal some food from the inn, or they can craft. And
So crafting will generate the crafting points.
crafting points. This is
Crafting
not
points.
classic crafting system that you see in other games. This is, I think, your idea, right, Camille? To use these crafting points instead of because before we were using time for
Points.
that, but right now we have a different system. So the more hunters are on the crafting job, the more crafting points they generate per day. And this simple knife only needs 10 crafting points. So one hunter can craft this knife in a day, right?
It also requires
Other materials, of course, but this is kind of
materials, yeah.
standard, right? So you know what's
So yeah, you can scavenge from the materials that you need for crafting, and then you can also I guess prepare your hunters or prepare spaces. I don't know what that means in the world, but they're just they're sort of preparing the materials for crafting, I guess, right? So like you're doing, let's say, I don't know, when you have iron, you're sort of, I guess, molding or making furnaces or heating up things.
They
Like
have
you're
this fancy
essentially-
little crafting wagon, there's a guy that helps them, craft this stuff. But we have, these materials are not like you would see in Heroes of Might and Magic when you have ore and wood. These are like categories of stuff. Like you have hunting materials, this would be anything that can be used, to create traps and things like that, and
Mhm.
more sophisticated hunters stuff. There is like maybe not official, but like hunter tree of items in this game.
Yeah.
We have mechanical parts, so everything that can be used to create firearms and things like that, and ritual ingredients, so anything that can be used for more occult stuff. You can craft different stuff. This is the beginning of the game, so we have only few of this available.
Let's say about the blueprints.
Yeah, because so rewards in the game.
Yeah, you can buy or get blueprints as a rewards for quests, and they will show here in this crafting list, right? And so you click on them, you can read what this item is, this is the stats of the ability that this item will have,
Mm-hmm.
and crafting costs. And if you want to craft something, you need to add item to crafting quick, right? This won't immediately create this item, as I said. You need to wait a day for this to be made. So, for example, I can add the two of these items to the crafting quick, and since only one of the guys is on the crafting job, I can quickly go and change another guy's role to this
Won't be
crafting.
enough. This won't be enough.
We have 16. Okay.
Need 3 unders doing.
We need to bring this to the top, by the way, Kamil. Try to remember.
So-
Try to remember. Okay, so I think 3 of them will generate enough crafting points, so we'll be able to craft both of these items in one day. So we have a little bit of animation. This can be, and we have crafting results, items crafted. We have throwing knives and hunting net, and we can go quickly to crafting to change. If you want to stay here longer, right,
Mhm.
and add something different to the queue, we can. There are some other stuff that we blocked at the very beginning of the game, so players won't be lost in all of these menus and things like that.
Don't worry about sacrifice.
Yeah,
Don't-
we'll learn
don't-
about this later.
Don't worry about it. That's a future hunter problem that you have to worry about there.
That's just what hunters do.
I mean, you know, don't worry about it. Don't read that part. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and we start mission. This is a mission icon, right? And I think we need to add like a word.
Mission 1. Hello, good to see you again.
No, this time they have titles. This is a mission called Unwelcome Guests. Usually they are tied to the quest name. So
Yeah.
this is like a quest line, and this is a mission. This quest line, like
Yeah, you go. The quest type is the icon up the top. I'm going to point at the screen so you guys can. Yeah, that one there is the quest type. So there's how many types do we have? We have 3 now, right? 3 different types of quests that you can go on to.
Yeah, we have story missions.
Yeah, this one's a story mission.
Yeah, this is my story mission, so it has this star. We have side missions, and there we'll probably add for what faction you are doing this. So
Yeah,
you
so like a
have
faction
a sigil of the house, so you can know that this is a mission for house rights, for example. And we have random missions. So we have random events. Something can happen when you're staying in one place, when you go to a region. Basically, when one day rolls, something may happen, and this could present a player with a choice. Will you help this little girl on the side of the road, or you just go and be a dick?
I'm gonna take a word from Independence Day. Oh no, Men in Black. That girl's clearly a monster. She's by herself in the forest. That girl's clearly a monster.
Yeah, so we have
Sacrifice her.
Sacrifice. that will be the solution for everything. And you have rewards, and you can hover over them, so you can see what it is. It's 500 experience, some materials, some cash, and some blueprints, right?
Yeah, that was also a big factor too. Experience is only counted at the end, so every single hunter that passes, regardless of how many monsters you kill or how little monsters you kill, as long as the mission is successful, every hunter who survives will get an allotment of experience points.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why,
this was actually a problem, because killing a monster, if it gives you an experience,
then the players would just farm them, basically. Yeah.
And we didn't want the game to do that. We wanted a stealth game. Don't just go and kill everybody. You have a task you need to complete.
Yeah.
So
there are other things that happen when you kill a monster, but we won't go into that.
Okay.
Because that's kind of like a nice little surprise for people.
Yeah. Let's not talk about it. Yeah. Why not? You'll get the surprise.
Yeah. Oh, look how smelly these guys are.
Yeah, so right now we also have something that we call cinematic sequence. So it's not like you go into mission, okay, do whatever you need, but these people will talk to you, and the camera may zoom on something. Okay, these are these big ones. You can get a little bit of a tutorial. Right now we have a tutorial about knockdown. So this is a reminder for you how to knock down monsters. And this is, I think, a kind of elegant way to give players some information that they need without overflowing them with information from text boxes, because these guys will talk. This is a part of a story, but this is not like a very dry tutorial.
Yeah.
So we start always with something from the world, from these characters, and then if it needs a deeper explanation, then there is a tutorial box when you can learn about the.
So we also have there's a bunch of UI changes in here that we should go over right now.
Now there are rectangles instead of diamonds.
Yeah, here we go. Back to the rectangle stuff. So this is probably the most easiest reading version of the UI we've had, in my opinion. I'm pretty humble about that. We have.
Yeah, Dave helped us a lot with this.
Yeah.
Just to be sure and to be fair with you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we have 2 main things here. We have HP, which you can see is also denoted by the number next to it as well. And then underneath we have the stamina. Now, if you mouse over some of the attacks down the bottom there, you'll see that doing a slash attack costs you 2 bars of that stamina, and that is consistent. So you can very easily understand what an action is going to cost in order to do that. Maybe we show them the movement as well. So this white bar, this white circle that you're in, the area, that is the free movement. We have Magda crawling on the floor trying to plug something. So this white area represents the movement that you have as a hunter for free.
Yes, So this is something that you see in the equipment screen. If there's a start movement, there's a dot.
Yeah.
So this is probably like 12 hexes. They are right now represented with these dots because they take less of the screen.
Yeah.
And you can move within this as long as you won't use all of your movement points. So I've used some of them, so this area is shrinked, right?
Yeah.
If you play Civilization 6, this is the same concept.
So then you'll start to notice that there's still movement you can do outside. Now, notice how moving outside of your movement range requires 1, and then the further you go, it requires more and more of the stamina to get where you need to go. And this particular part right here took us a really long time to nail down as to how we should tell the player what it costs to go as far as they need to go. Like for us, we had to have a lot of people come in and sort of help us reflect on what we were trying to tell to people, because it's very difficult to set boundaries as to what players can do. There was at one point there was a period of time where you could just run really, really far in the things, and it was very hard to note just how much you can actually do and what you should be doing, and that made it very difficult for us to sort of.
So for me it was very important so that hunters can, circle around their enemies. So we approach a situation right here, right? We have 2 enemies, one that is a kind of strong enemy, and one that is weak. Okay, this is like our situation, and we could use some more intel what's further ahead. But if we give these hunters a lot of this movement, this will at some point cover like everything that you can see on the screen. This will not look very pretty, and as Dave said, you can just outrun anything in your path. So we knew that we have stamina from the very beginning. We knew that we can use stamina to increase movement, but there was no very good idea, not how to make this work, but how to show this.
Yeah.
There were different
feedback.
ideas.
User
the
feedback.
Visual feedback.
Yeah.
This is something very important. And so right now we can use this, and because we have these bars and we don't have anything else, no action points, anything like that, you just put a simple sprite next to your cursor. Okay, this will cost 1 bar, and right now we have these little notifications that show. And hunters have, you don't have to, and this is consistent, so these guys have a little bit of range of this additional movement, and if you won't use everything, you still can move within this without using stamina, but this is consistent with what we had before, right? This is the white area when I don't use stamina. This is another white area when you don't use stamina, and outside of this I use stamina and how much I use this. So I'm happy with that.
It's really effective in teaching the player just the limitations as to how far they can go, and it also means that people can essentially plan out their moves in a lot easier capacity than they could ever before, because they can sort of measure it out with the mouse and be like, okay, I can make it there, and then I can attack him because I have 3 left over. But there's also a problem with running out of stamina completely, and also you notice when you run, little pop-ups sort of tell you what's happening
how
and
much stamina
how much you've lost and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and you start losing the stamina. Keep in mind that there is no passive regeneration there, so we added this rest ability. So you just use this, the guy goes to this rest mode, and right now he needs to stay undisturbed here, and at the beginning of the next turn he will regain all of his stamina. So another start
he was attacked.
Unless he was attacked. So if he gets attacked, he will just get the reduction of stamina from the monster's attack. Yeah,
there's also a lot of other feedback going on here that you might have noticed. There's these little puffs of wind that represent the direction. You can also see it in the top left of the corner as well. There's also
this little animation. So it's not because this movement, this will catch your eye, right? And I've added this. So
and the blue line's wafting. Wafting is a good word, but that's exactly what is happening here. The blue lines wafting off the hunters represent a smell. So if that smell line, if you were to intersect with an enemy that doesn't see you yet, maybe you should try it and see what happens.
Just go here. So you can see these lines show that this guy will see me if I stand on this hex. So you can see there's no line. He won't be able to see me. but he will smell me, right? And he has this little pop-up on his head that is slightly too big right now.
Yeah.
But you know, you get feedback, right? He noticed something, right?
Yeah.
And if I would stop this turn, he will just go there and maybe just do this, right? He will investigate and he will smack me, right?
Smack you.
Yeah, because he was not good. You know?
Oh, it was a tasty treat.
No, he's not that stupid. Okay, and right now, this is something new, Dave. You haven't seen this before.
Oh, okay. Surprise me.
Surprise. Right now, enemies don't use only one ability. They usually have 3. So you will never know what they will do. Like you know what they can do, and you need to be prepared. So this guy will have, I need to finish this. It's not ready. He's using a different animation for that. But he uses like a scream that will reduce stamina on hunters. So this is a real effect. This is like something that will how to say this, reduce your morale. We don't have morale system, but we represent this with stamina. He can smack you, or he can smack you very, very hard, but this will also make him tired. Okay, so this is also another, like an example of a visual feedback. If someone sees you, your hunter is standing up, right? If they don't see you, they are crouching. Okay, so we just need to start shooting at him, right?
Yeah, blow him up. Let's go.
So yeah, this rifle has a limited sound, only of 7, so this guy will probably not hear us. So you can see that hunters have a different way of dealing with things. Okay, so 70 shot, 80 shot damage, right?
Yeah.
80 shot damage.
80, yeah.
So this guy is not, and these particles that you can see here that are emanating from the feet of the hunter.
You're pointing your finger.
Yeah, but I also prefer this to you because we have a nice conversation here. So, yeah, this will scale to the range of the actual sound that you are making. So,
right. Yeah. And if you move, does the pulses stay where it is?
Yeah, it will stay. Because this is the place where you shot, right? When you make your shot. And
that's new, by the way. I haven't seen that before. So.
No, we only have like one particle that was like universal. It didn't scale to the actual range. Right now it does. Also, another thing, we have this weapon widget here, and you can change your weapon. It doesn't cost anything. Right now, the stats show you what the ability is on this weapon, because most of the guns in Alder's Blood are single shot.
Yeah.
They're all breech loaded, so they're loaded from the end of the barrel, your end of the barrel, not muzzle shot. This is another reason why I changed the aesthetics of the game, because back then, if you remember this first build that we are showing you, the old one, it looked like this all muzzle loaded. How will you make an animation for muzzle loading when you have so limited ability to move your character with in 2D? And this takes a lot of time. When people were shooting with these guns, they were given like a minute to reload their gun, right? Because there were ranks of people that wasn't a problem. But it doesn't fit. So we changed the main time reference for us from our world, from 17th century to 19th century. So we have a lot of these single shot guns that are breech loaded. So you still won't spam shots left and right. You need to reload your guns, and this costs stamina as well.
Yeah, it costs stamina to reload. What are the dots underneath the reload there? I don't know what they are. They shouldn't be there, to be honest. No, the dots show you how many uses you have of something. Maybe when I was doing the setup of this particular ability, I accidentally added 3 uses for that. Okay.
But for example, here you have hunting net. This is one, so you can use this only once. In contrast, you have this hunting throwing knives, and you have 3 of them for you are giving a pack of knives as one item, as one usable. But hunting nets goes in one.
So I guess in this build you have 4 shots.
No, I have only 1 shot. Here you can see, there's this small icon, how many shots you have, and when this is.
Well, I mean, 4 total shots that you can reload. Yeah. He
reloads, and it fills with small bullet icon. And the reload ability will only spawn when you use at least 1 shot. Some of the guns, there are few guns that have more ammo than 1, but only few. Then there will be
Like a
height here.
double barrel shotgun.
Yeah,
or
this have
something like that.
two shots, but we also have like a carbine with 3 shots.
That pulse is really cool. I really like that. Like, that's the most effective way I can think of. So when does it go away? When something investigates that space?
After 1 turn.
After 1 turn, okay.
Yeah, because they'll go there, he'll investigate, probably spot us because we are standing here in the open.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm playing dump right now. This is not how you're supposed to play this game. Another thing that you can do, because this guy is very strong. He has 200 HP, and basically everybody would have to start attacking him to bring him down. But there's another way to do this. He has only... No, he has like 50, right?
50 left.
Yeah, 50 left. And every attack usually takes some stamina. Like this attack with the blade, that they have here, will take 10 stamina. This is like this bar that is broken, right? And then maybe think of a different thing, a different image for that. So you can go here, start attacking him. This is an attack that will not drain too much stamina out of you, only 2. And this is another way of dealing with stronger monsters. You may spam them with these attacks or abilities like throwing knives, shit like that, not only to make them aggro you, right? Because if you throw a knife on them, they can start attacking you and maybe you walk into a trap.
Yeah.
So there's multiple ways to do this. I think that this artist is not. Yeah, they should deal more stamina. We switched, from single digits to double digits, and some of the.
So you took 1 stamina off him, which is basically nothing.
10. But the idea is that you can slowly bring down the stamina with the throwing knives, or just lure the enemies towards you. Because there's magical items that create sound effects. There's throwing pebbles. Everyone can throw a pebble every time. And you can show this later because right now everybody is alerted here.
Yeah.
And but this guy is not alerted, and he's looking into that direction, right? We can access this by pressing spacebar. I need to finish the UI still.
Yeah.
But if you're not
Detective
sure
mode.
where the guy is looking, you can just tap spacebar. Okay, he will see me if I go there. And sometimes when you want to advance, but the monster is looking into your direction, you can throw a pebble. And if you catch something in this area, he will look to the point of impact, to the center of the and investigate this. Before they only turn right now, they investigate this kind of stuff. Okay, so
but they will do this on your turn, so you can use that because they don't usually act on your turn.
They will only change the facing on your turn, so you can immediately change their facing, then run. And investigate in their turn. This is different save from further in the game with different mission. So maybe we could change some of the items here. We already have the shotgun, and we can use maybe a heavy axe.
Heavy axe, my favorite.
Alright, so here's the mission, some different rewards. We have this marking fruits. I'll try to show you a damage combo here.
Okay.
This is also a very, very important way, very important mechanic, how to deal with monsters quickly, efficiently.
Tell about the resistances.
Yeah, this is always connected. So this is a different mission, and you need to be careful because the colors of this makes this guy camouflage quite nicely. This is one thing that I forgot to talk about before. Right now, our weapons doesn't have to be equipped with only one ability. So this shotgun can shoot back shots as normal, right? Or you can shoot from both barrels at the same time.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it has a cooldown of return, so you cannot spam this, right? But you can do this and to quickly take down a more powerful enemy. This 150 damage. Only, I guess, 3 monsters will survive that in the game right now.
Wow.
Yeah, there was some changes to the ammo because right now it doesn't use this. but it will, So you have multiple abilities on your gun. This is guns only, not guns only. Ranged weapons.
Ranged weapons.
Because there are some ranged weapons that are not guns. And they will use like one pool of ammo for that. So I can show you this pebble that we were talking before. So this
also,
guy
before you cauterize this dude, can you go into detective mode and show do we still have the overlay? Okay, yeah, cool. So when you're in detective mode, you can get a basic idea of the status of the enemy, as well as
or he's already alerted, or he wants to kill you.
Yeah, and then there's like the resistances and stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is the weakest enemy in the game, so he doesn't have any resistances, but he has some weaknesses. He's weak to chemical damage, to light damage. Every monster is weak to light damage. That's how it works. They are the spawns of darkness, so the light will kill them. And he's weak to pierce and spirit. So he's weak to a lot of stuff. You can use it to your advantage to get rid of him quickly. Because if someone is weak to a specific type of damage, he will get double the damage. So even your weak knife, this guy was weak to pierce, right? So you can switch to a knife, and he also have two different abilities, right? And one of them will deal pierce damage, 40 pierce damage, and bleeding forward from one turn.
Yeah.
So right now I can go and probably take him out silently with one attack.
Stab him in the butt.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. We also changed, I don't know if you noticed this, but the pathfinding is right now walking to straight line. It's not making this strange.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because he used to do the snaking,
a lot, and right now it doesn't, so we can use the deep cut.
I like that new UI for hurting a dude. Got him.
Yeah, he got the bleeding, but he's dead. And if you use something for the first time, you get a pop-up.
Yeah.
So we used bleeding for the first time, and you get it. Fighters that are afflicted with bleeding status effect will lose 20 HP at the beginning of each turn.
Yeah, and this will always be available in the codex and stuff.
Yeah, so you can go back and read about this, and so characters inflicted with bleeding are vulnerable to spirit damage. So if someone wasn't, or maybe even if he was strong to this spirit damage, if you apply bleeding to him, you can exploit this.
Now, what about explanation on icons and stuff like that happens above a creature or anything like that? You can find those in the codex as well?
Yeah, everything will be in the codex. And every info that you need, if you forget about something, it has to be there. So you can, advance, hide in the bushes. That's how you should play this. Try to get some cover. If you spend some stamina, you can always rest, right?
Yeah.
We have some monsters like this one, and if we go here, you can see there's a watcher, and the guys will talk about this. This is one, I guess, of the worst cases of transformation, because this guy will just be there and scream. That's all he can do. But this guy, this is a camera, basically. That's Dave was very confused when we wrote in our milestone breakdown, camera enemy, and what does it mean, right? What's camera enemy? In games like Metal Gear Solid, you have these cameras, right? And that's something. And when you walk
supernatural version of CCTV.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And you may try to distract it with a pebble, or maybe, make it scream so the monsters will go towards him and then you run away in a different direction. Or you may just wait, and he'll probably go to sleep. He has a cycle of...
Just like CCTV.
Yeah, they just run out of batteries.
Yes, the one
yes, he saw me. He's someone, get the line of sight to me through these bushes. And he...
Oof.
Okay, so I had very little stamina on myself, and this attack drained the remaining, and right now my hunter is knocked down. And when he's knocked down, I won't be able to do anything in my turn right now.
Yeah.
I have to wait or use a specific item that is called smelling salts. We can give this to the hunter and he will
snap back to reality.
Yeah.
Don't you say it. I know you want to. Every time those series of words happens, you know.
Yeah.
So that looks a little funky there. That UI.
This I changed some in the atlas because these icons are actually text. There are sprites in the text, and when the system won't find an icon for a poison for whatever reason, it just showed this translation code of how to call this, because this guy can now bite you or bite you with poison effect.
Yeah.
And poison is like worse bleeding because it deals more damage per turn, and it also won't allow you to heal yourself while you are poisoned.
Yeah. So monsters can really ruin your day in this game for sure.
Yeah, if you are not paying attention to your surroundings, if you don't. You need to, check these lines. This is very, very helpful. If you see, some big cover like that, you can hide behind this. Okay, no one here will see you through this, right? But you need to be, careful with the smell.
It's also worth pointing out that the stamina doesn't come back every turn. You actually have to rest.
Yeah, I didn't rest, so you can see I have a limited stamina pool right now. But let's see if I'll be able to shoot this guy if I'm close enough. I'm not close enough, and probably I won't be able to use this shotgun.
No, it should work.
It should work. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I will. Okay, so you can push your hunters, like. I'm missing
to the
words.
edge. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that out of your, this is your idea to push them and lose all of the stamina, just to do something. So it's not that you cannot do something because you lose all your stamina. You can do this and lose all your stamina if you want.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, let's say that I'm in a kind of hard situation here. So I'm gonna shoot him. I probably knock myself down.
Nah.
No, it's only 15. No, okay, I should use the other ability. Sorry.
I was gonna say, you're trying to show something here, and
then I do this. But I can do something different. Let's say slash. Okay, slash is using right.
The right amount.
15 stamina, so 1.5. You can attack the air if you want. No, I cannot go there because the reason why I couldn't attack here is because just moving there would require me 1 stamina, right? So
yeah.
So that's why. But I can attack here, right? And he will attack the air.
Stabbing it, bleeding it,
and knock down. Yeah. So that's how it works. Why you can attack the air? Some of the abilities are AOE, right? You can attack
attacking the darkness.
Right, magic missile. Yeah.
Magic missile. Yeah. So that's the basic, concepts for the game, and let's get out of this.
I like the sound, the waves for the shotgun sound.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't really show the sound today, mostly because all of the old builds and stuff that were on this laptop here.
No, I didn't mean the sound effects. I meant the waves.
Oh, the waves, right? Much bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a military-based weapon, normal gun, and the range of this gun, the sound was like 30, and in contrast that hunter's rifle, 20. Every tank is 20, right?
Yeah.
I would have to
change
check.
anyway, so.
Probably
a lot.
No, right now it's okay. It's okay. Okay, let's.
Yeah, but the military weapons have a lot of sound. Yeah?
Shotgun, right? Okay, shotgun is here, and it has 20, while this rifle only has 7. But damage is 80. It's always a trade-off.
Yeah.
There's no better or worse guns in this game. There is always you're trading something for something.
Yeah.
Right? You will get a rifle that shoots way further because it only has a range of 10. I streamlined the ranges, by the way, so you have melee range for weapons, like all of your knives, axes, and things like that. Then you have a short range for shotguns, like sawn-off shotgun. If you have this right now. 10, which is like your standard thing for pistols and like short-range rifles. And then 30, which just basically means that you can shoot anything that you can see. So you can have a rifle that will have a longer range, but it will be louder, right? It doesn't have a silencer anymore.
Yeah.
And things like that.
So I think unless you have any more evolution stuff you want to show.
there's probably some more, but I think that we showed the basics, the
Yeah.
stuff that.
I mean, the game has definitely come quite a considerable way from how it originally started, at least. No. But in terms of the evolution of the art, that was a huge thing, and the major evolution for the game is going from something that the idea was very solid from the very beginning. You always understood, at least from the combat side of things, the direction that we needed to go in. It was just about getting it to the point that where we wanted the game to feel. And
that is a very important thing. This is something. If you need to have, I call this a vision, right?
Mhm.
You have a vision for your game, because you can solve this with the first build that we showed.
Yeah.
We had a vision, but we forgot about this. We had more people working on the game back then.
Mhm.
Not everybody stayed with us, and they didn't understand this basically. Right?
Yeah.
They had a problem with that. They just started playing with the game. They started seeing, okay, something is working. Okay, let's go that way. But then you can go this way, and you have a mess. You basically have a mess in the end, and you need someone who will be this person who will. Okay, this was supposed to be a stealth game. This idea for this particular mechanic won't work because this is a stealth game, and this, like switches, like turns this game into direction of a melee brawler, right? We have an idea to, like, for example, make the resistances like in levels, like you are weak or very weak or things like that. But this kinda sounds like a brawler, right?
Yeah.
And it's not good. Simpler solution. Maybe you can say that this is maybe too simple for your taste, but this is how it's supposed to be. You mark an enemy with a status effect, and then you exploit this. Simple as that, right?
Yeah. And all those evolutions basically happens because of like iteration, testing, making sure that all of the functionality is working as intended. We had a GDD, like a game design document that we're basing everything off. So when it comes to finalizing the solution for what we wanted to do with the game, we got there in the end.
That's a process. You cannot do every little mechanic right at the start, because it all requires time, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
of course it's not that okay, we have this and it's great, and next month we'll think about something else that we'll add to the game. There was a plan, from the very beginning, how we want to add. Some stuff changed right along the way, because we knew that something wasn't working and we need to change this because it's not a good idea anymore. But this is always a process, right? And we are very close to the end of this process. We are polishing stuff, making this balance choices, right? Adding new weapons, new items, to give you as much tactical options as possible. Finishing the story, adding little things like this thing, which will track your main quest, so you know where you to go and what is the main quest, what is only a side quest, and probably expand on this later on. We get this codex, so if you forget about something, you can go back, and read about this. So we are very close. I can see that right now. I think we're very close.
Yeah. So right now, the game is live on Kickstarter.
Yes.
You can go to. I might be able to say that name online, but we'll in the description for whatever video you watch here, you'll be able to go. There'll be a link where you can go and take a look at the Kickstarter and stuff like that.
Yeah, and maybe I should explain why we started this Kickstarter.
Go ahead.
Okay. We have a publisher. We work together. We worked for the past 9 months, and the game a little bit grew along the way. This was supposed to be a little bit smaller project. If you take a look at the original milestones, but we decided that we could do more. But there is always time constraints, and for us to give this game this final polish, bring this to more platforms, we need some time, and time equals money. That's how life works, unfortunately.
Yes.
Is this ugly side of game development. Usually we talk about all of the inspirations, all of the passion that we have for this game, but this is this ugly stuff that unfortunately usually is to be or not to be for the project. So that's why we started this Kickstarter campaign. And if you like what you saw, if you like the story of this project, if you just like guys killing werewolves and vampires, and then you think this is good, please support us on the Kickstarter. Help us, bring this game to the place where it should be, where it. I lost the word here. Sorry, but it deserves to be, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Because there are some stuff like cinematics. We have plans for that. We already started working on that, but I don't know if we'll be able to do this without your support. There's all stuff like audio. This is all outsourced. We don't have audio people.
There's many things we wanted to do with the story, right? The world building, showing of little hints here and there.
Yeah, this all requires time and people that could help us with that. We have a good idea. This hints for the lore, as Kamil just said, in the item descriptions. I usually do this, but I also do main stories, quests, balance, art, some of this, not all of this, but some of this, game design and project management. This is this much I can do in a frame of time, and we need some help, from the outside. And that's why we are making this Kickstarter.
So it's also worth pointing out that the Kickstarter itself, unlike a lot of the games that go through Kickstarter and all that sort of stuff, you're not paying to back the Kickstarter to support an idea. The game is a game.
Yeah.
There is an entire project here. We have total of 75 missions in the game.
Yeah, 75 or something.
75 missions.
I think we have something around 40 hours of gameplay in this game. At least that's what we are aiming. And I think we already have this actually.
Yeah. To put in perspective, the game is so long that no one has sat down and gone from start to finish yet. We've done individual mission testing. We've done all that stuff, but to sit down and actually play the game, involve ourselves in the meta game and all that sort of stuff. So to give an accurate time length, each mission's 20, 25 minutes?
It depends on how well you play. I play this shorter because I know how this works. For you this will be a learning, experience, and this could make your experience longer at the very beginning. Right?
Yeah.
So it has a lot of content for you, and we're still adding more stuff, so it will be more interesting for you.
Yeah.
But this, as they've said, this is a game that will be released. It has a released window.
Yes, it does.
Set up. It has plans for a Switch port. We already started working on that. You may probably seen some updates.
They threw a spanner in the work when they released that bloody mini thing. But other than that, yes, the Switch build is currently underway. So
it works nicely. Of course, not everything could be tested because there's some work required. There are platform specifics. But everything looks like it will run very, very smoothly, very, very nicely. I'm very excited because I'm a huge fan of Switch myself, and it's very important for me. Kamil is a huge fan of PC games, so he will make sure that the Steam and GOG version will be as good as possible for you.
Yes.
When you'll be pledging, you'll be able to choose what version, what platform you want to play this on. Is it a Switch? Is it a PC or a GOG key? You will choose, and we'll send this to you. There will be a form. If you never pledged before on the Kickstarter, after the Kickstarter, if this will be a success, and I hope it will be, then you'll get not an email, probably a message for your Kickstarter, and there will be choose your version. I want a Switch, key, Steam, or GOG.
There's also additional tiers in here for
more
pretty much, I would say, the moment the Kickstarter is successful, instant access.
Yes.
To closed betas to help us. So basically, there's a couple of iterations that are going to happen after the Kickstarter because so there's two major
closed tests. Let's call them. Right?
Closed test, basically just crowd testing sort of things that we want to do. You can be a part of those experiences, and those experiences will be complete experiences. You'll be able to go through.
You won't get a demo, right?
Yeah.
When this will be only a part of the game. You'll get what we have prepared so far for you. You'll be able to talk with us on the closed channels, so there won't be anybody else. If you'll be a part of a closed community, we call it the Hunters Guild. No, Hunters League. Sorry,
Hunters League. Yeah.
Guild was before that. It was way before. So you'll be the elite, right? That will be able to to shape the game with us. No, seriously, this will be a huge help for us because we look at these things differently, and we just have information that we already reached 13% of the
14% of the goal within An hour, 2 hours. That's very impressive.
Yeah,
So,
the word haven't spread yet that much, so we're very happy.
Yeah.
What else? There are some goodies, of course, for bigger tiers. If you want yourself in the game, there are also tiers for that.
Mhm.
You can get yourself.
Hunter McGavin.
Yeah. But if you want to
Yes,
see your
two
face
shotguns.
in the game, or
Yeah.
your friend's face in the game, there are tiers for that. People's done this. I know that you want this kind of stuff. There
Yeah.
are some exclusive weapons and charms for people that are backers and
Yep.
only for backers only. And we'll probably talk with you, and you'll be able to choose what weapon you want and what charm you want. So it's not like
Yeah.
let's leave them. No, that's okay. No, they won't be like that. We'll talk with you. We are always available on Discord. If you have any questions about this is probably the best place to do this.
Unless we're sleeping.
Unless we're sleeping.
And when they're sleeping, I'm awake. So that's how that works, right?
We try to be, online, as long as possible to answer all your questions. Ask on Kickstarter, ask on Discord, or anywhere you need to. You don't have to go to the Discord. You go to, this is a place for the community. If you want to be part of the community,
There's
welcome.
Facebook and all that stuff. So
But,
you can
we are, always there. We are
Mhm.
taking a look what's happening and answering your questions. Personally, I'm mostly active on Discord and Twitter, so that's this. If you want to talk to me personally, that's these two channels that I'm more often on, right?
Yeah.
What else? There was one thing I want to talk about. There was this access. There was this goodies for you. There was this and spread the word. Spread the word.
Spread the
Help
word.
us.
Yeah.
Help us.
Tell
This
your
is not
mom.
the thing. Yeah.
Tell your mom's dog. Tell grandma. Grandma's interested in hunting werewolves. She did it when she was younger, actually. So
Yeah, because
she was-
back then there was werewolves and we were going to school. It was very dangerous to go to school because you only had one pair of shoes and they were not very good at getting
Yeah.
classes of werewolves.
they were very loud and very easy for the werewolves to take notice of.
30 range of the sound. So it's not very, very good.
So thank you very much for joining us. And as always, we'll put this video most likely on the Kickstarter because I feel like this is a really interesting look into where it all came from, right?
Yeah,
And where it is right now and where it's going to go in the future. So
the whole road of this project in a package.
yeah,
There was a lot of details that we missed, but this will be like 8-hour story.
Yeah.
There was a lot of happening along the way, but
oh yeah, and when you find out what happens when you attack monsters, that'll be fun too. Right?
No, it won't.
All right. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, back the Kickstarter and don't sacrifice the little girl.
no, it's not cool. It's not cool. It's not. You need to be a good guy. You're a hero in this world. You need to help people.
All right.
Don't be a dick.